Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of, I don't know what's the title anymore, but basically what we are trying to do is to learn Rust. And we started by doing Advent of Code, if you have been following this channel, but more recently we have been transitioning into a little bit of game dev, and we have been using Rust with this game dev framework called Bevy. And so we were building a little bit of a spaceship, kind of asteroid-like game. And we have two implementations partially written, one in Python and one in Rust with Bevy. So we are trying to make some progress on it and see where we get and maybe have something working. So, yeah, my name is Luciano and we have Roberto there.
Hello.
So, Roberto, do you want to show the state of your game in Python, or where should we
Yeah,
start?
it's the same of the last time because I'm working on a refactor, but I'm still I'm still doing it. So sorry, guys, I didn't put enough effort in it. But if you want to show what is there, basically is what we want to get to probably today. We want to add. Are you showing the?
Yes, your screen should be on right now.
Okay, perfect. We are trying to add asteroids to it, and we added the fuel cell last time. We have to add some way of managing the collision between asteroids and between fuel cells and with the ship. I think we already managed the collision between ship and fuel cell, so it's absorbing it. We have to add asteroids and manage the collision with asteroids, and if we have time and we want, we can add the stars on the background that are up, just up, nice to have because they do nothing. They just stay there in the background at a random position.
It is just like
special.
one white pixel, or what?
Yeah, there is a PNG, is a sprite in here, is a cross
Right.
of 5 pixels with 4 frames, and there is a little bit of light that is cycling through it.
Oh,
Probably
nice.
is so small that you can't see that, to be honest. But I mean, it's just in theory is moving. Probably so small that you can't see that.
So do you
Between
create
the
like
compression and
different
everything else.
entities like scattered around randomly, or is like one tile or something?
Is the same sprite in multiple position, 100 of them, I think, a random position inside the boundaries of the screen based on the screen size. And also we have to manage the collision between the asteroid and the ship going in a state of game over, and if we want showing the explosion animation that we already have the sprite somewhere in our assets. And then manage the reset of the game. Ooh,
Sounds good. So we can see. Wait. We have the usual problem where I'm gonna switch my screen in a second, and we can see the status of the other game, the one in Rust. Okay, that's it. As you can see, it's a lot more bare-bone. But yeah, we have movement, we have the yellow things are fuel cells, and we don't have asteroids, and we don't have collisions between fuel cells and the ship. So probably maybe the first thing we should implement is this, the collision
we
between
don't.
the
I
ship.
thought we did. I was remembering we did it last time, but we didn't. So oops,
No,
I was remembering.
Exactly, we ended up doing some refactoring instead.
I was remembering too much.
Yep, and we updated to Bevy 0.9. Yeah, and
from 0.8 to 0.9, and it was a little bit of work with
exactly
some changes in the API.
Also some interesting changes, like we were not able anymore to align the text at the bottom, but whatever.
Yeah, but we will look into it later on. I mean, it's not super important right now.
Okay, so let's see if we can do the collision thing. Now, I have done this once, so I should be able to remember. Let's see. We have... first of all, where do we put that? Because last time we did a little bit of refactoring where we have our main, which is just registering stuff.
We have
And
a ship and we have a fuel, so it can
mhm.
be. It makes sense for it to be or in the ship or in the fuel because
Yeah, I feel it's more of a ship thing because it is gonna refill the ship itself. So maybe we can add it here.
okay. So is
Okay.
how do you handle in Bevy collisions? Is that a special kind of query or what?
It's a system where we need to query the ship itself and all the things that it can collide with. And then there is a utility function that is called, I think, AABB collision something that basically can tell us if two entities with a position in the space are colliding, and if they are colliding, it also tells you exactly, like, relatively in which direction they are colliding.
Oh, nice.
So we can probably use that. I don't think it's the most efficient way because you end up comparing basically every entity with
Yeah,
each
even the
other.
one
But
that I did in Python is not the most efficient way to do so. There is an algorithm to sort the point in a 2D space by distance from another point. So we could have the fuel cell sorted by distance from the ship and
mhm.
starting checking collision from the nearest, going to the most furthest. And at that point, if you are not touching the nearest fuel cell that you have, you stop there because, I mean, there will be no. But let's see. Let's start simple. I mean,
Mhm. Okay, so what do we call it? We call it collide with
fuel.
fuel system. And what do we want here? We want,
Okay.
let's see what Copilot is trying to guess. We definitely want to get all the fuel.
I think we don't need the command, but we need the fuel to be mutable because we want to despawn the fuel cell.
Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna keep this one, and then we
Yeah,
can work on this one. So we definitely need the commands. We need this first query. So let's call it query fuel.
fuel query. I mean, if the one below is a ship query, this could be fuel query.
So we need entity, which is basically the way we can get a reference to the actual entity. We need transform because we need the position. I don't know if we need sprite. I think sprite is going to give us the dimension, so we probably need that. And then with
Uh,
fuel is
because it's not computing the collision on itself.
no,
Well, let's
it's
see.
it's a generic function. You need to pass A and B, and A and B is basically a position and a bounding box for A and B. So you pass four parameters, and
Mm.
it gives you
So it's not an exact collision exact to the pixel.
no, I think it's just bounding box collision.
Okay, no, because in Pygame, the collision being the sprite transparent is taking in account
Hmm.
the exact border of the ship. Because
Right.
if two transparent pixels of the sprite overlap, is not a collision for Pygame. Function to check the collisions. I use the one that is doing this. That
Hmm.
is quite expensive, CPU wise, but is the one that I wanted to use. So here we have bounding boxes. Okay. Can we have okay, let's see what Copilot wrote.
Okay, so we need probably here. I think we need the sprite as well again because we will want to know the exact size of the ship.
We have to import fuel because it's not imported in this module. How
Also,
this
we will need the starship as well because we want to mutate the fuel.
we want the fuel is in the starship or in the engine? I don't remember.
Actually, yeah, we need the engine.
I don't remember where it is. It was a question more than
I think it's the engine. Let's double check that. This needs to be mutable. So let's see. The ship
We are in
is
the ship.
engine.
The engine must be somewhere.
There you go. And there is
Yeah,
fuel.
the fuel is in the engine. So yes, we need the engine to mutate the fuel.
Now this one needs to be imported. Why is unused? Wait. No.
Probably is not inferring that we need that for.
It doesn't like it. A similar name exists in the module fuel. Didn't we expose it somehow? Oh, fuel
A
cell.
fuel cell.
Right, that's why.
Copilot, you are suggesting it wrong.
Okay, so now we can get the ship.
Unwrap is not needed anymore with the new APIs.
I think that's the case, but this is not giving us. This is giving us a bunch of things. Ship transform, ship sprite, and ship engine, or just engine, because there is only one. Okay, that's what we get. And probably this is going to be mutable.
You have to specify mute in line 121 and also here.
I think so.
Okay.
And now what we want to do is for every, let's say, fuel cell, fuel, or let's just call it fuel, I guess, fuel transform and fuel sprite.
In a fuel query. In fuel query.
In fuel query. I don't think we need either mut, to be honest.
We have to despawn.
Okay, let's see. I think it's Rust Analyzer is going to tell us if we don't need it to be mutable. Okay, now I'll look at this entity despawn.
Fuel. Instead of entity, you must call it fuel because you renamed
Let's see
entity.
if that's the case. Oh, I don't know what the hell is distance, but whatever.
Fuel, that is the fuel transform.
So now let me see if I can find my collision example.
This one is doing something, is a circular collision. This one is quite simple. If the two, more or less a circular collision, if the two sprites get within 16 pixels, that is a little bit too small for us because I think our ship is like 24 pixels of length or something like that. If they are that near, it means that they touch. So it's a circular way.
Exactly.
If the fuel is in a circular distance from the center of the sprite, they touch. So they will not touch exactly, but it's not a box at least. It's a circle. It's better, I think, than the box.
Could be better, yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Should we go for the...
Let's try it. Replace the transform with fuel transform, so you're using the right variable name, and instead of 16, go with a 24. Just probably 16 is. And you also have to increment the engine fuel somehow.
And we need to increment the engine fuel, which is
by plus equal. I think the entity has a capacity. Fuel. I think it has a capacity. It had a capacity. I don't remember.
Let's see, because we need to get the fuel cell otherwise.
Let's go in the fuel cell. I think the fuel cell has
yeah, we did have a capacity.
Yeah,
okay, so we need to do this. We need to move this one inside.
A reference to it is enough, right? Fuel cell. We can remove the width
anymore. But now this is gonna give us fuel entity.
Now, are you adding? Okay, sorry.
Now this is fuel entity. The entity is basically just an integer, like an ID. But this is what we can use fuel cell capacity.
Yeah, I don't know why Copilot is so wrong today.
Why doesn't like it? Cannot assign engine fuel which is behind a reference.
We don't want to assign engine fuel. We want to change engine dot
Do
fuel.
we need to do this? That's interesting.
The engine is a reference mutable engine.
So engine is what? Mute engine. Cannot assign to engine.fuel, which is behind. Oh, we have a special guest.
Yeah, the usual special guest. This time he was out of the house today, so he wants some attention. Are you sure that mute in line 123 is needed? Yes, right?
I think this is single mute. The problem.
But well, yes, single mute.
And now we don't need the
it's
sprites
contain-
anymore because we are not considering the size of the sprites, so we can remove that.
Or we can leave. Is going to throw warnings not to crash, right?
We can leave it for now and test the game,
Yeah.
but okay,
Because
let's
if
try that.
this is not working, we have to revert to the boxes, and we need the sprites at that point.
Okay, let's see if we
So
can
let's see if we can collect the fuel, and if it's changing our.
if I'm good enough.
Yeah, you are not good enough. We made a game too difficult for you.
Oh
No,
working.
something is wrong, guys. It's not collecting.
Why is that?
Cool, nice. Let's look at the code. No, it doesn't.
How are we getting the position?
But we are not getting the position. She's doing ship transform dot translation distance from the fuel transform translation. That I think it is something that is doing Bevy for us.
Let's try to print this value. Just
to debug. Let's see what is distance. Okay,
like that. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with it. Thank you, Copilot.
This is going to be very noisy, but
what is the
oh
console?
yeah, we never registered the system, so of course.
Yeah, my God,
Not doing anything.
Right. We are so dumb sometimes. Often. System.
Okay, so now
let's try again.
Again,
but well, you can remove the print line.
It's now building for real because there are differences. It crashed. It did crash. Why did it crash?
Why?
No entities. Okay, it's not matching.
There is no starship. Is this system starting before the ship is created?
No, I don't think that's the problem. It might be that there is the sprite is different. The class sprite. So let me remove this for a second. We can easily re-add it. So ship query. We need a transform. We need an engine and needs to be a starship. So, I mean, definitely have all this stuff. Famous last words. Okay, that was the problem. Okay, now it's actually taking stuff. Now it's increasing the fuel. It is 35, 49, 83. So yeah, this is working.
Yeah.
Does it kappa 1000? Did we do that?
I don't think we did that. So it will go above.
Yeah, it's not capping. Okay, that's fine. We can
We
do
have
it
to add the
later.
cap.
I like that if you go diagonal, it's very clear that it's an approximation. Look that the fuel cell disappears way before you hit it.
Yeah. We have to look if there is a way to have precise to the pixel of the sprite collisions.
Anyway, okay, so this is kind of working for now, probably good enough.
Yeah. I have to reload my browser a moment, Luciano. Can you add me back to the scene later?
Yes. Okay, meanwhile, I'm adding this constant everywhere where we have 32. So now it should be slightly more accurate. Okay, Roberto is back. Welcome
Sorry,
back.
guys, my webcam was misbehaving for some reason. Let me try to close some tabs and some stuff. So yeah, we are touching. We are touching from. No, you changed the distance.
Yeah, I improved it a little bit. What I did, very simple hack. I created a constant ship size, and then I'm considering half of the ship size.
Okay, cool. Nice. Is there any way to do a to the pixel collision check?
I don't think there is natively. Let
Mm.
me search for it. If anyone knows, let us know in the chat. But as far as I'm aware, the only thing that is built in is the kind of bounding box.
Okay, nothing. Let's leave the circular collision at this point with half of the ship size. I think is better than the square.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yes.
And we can optimize it later, sorting the fuel cell by distance from the ship.
Yeah, just to show people very quickly, if we go to the docs, the only collision that you have built in is this collide AABB, which is based on bounding box. So it doesn't seem like they support anything else out of the box. Probably there are plugins or extensions, but yeah, right now we'll keep it simple.
Yeah, let's keep it simple. Yes.
Okay, what were you
Are we
suggesting?
cap? We need to cap the fuel. We need to cap the fuel.
Mm-hmm. Let's cap the fuel. We need to cap it here, basically, right?
Yes. Do we have a capacity of the fuel tank somewhere? Like in the engine?
Oh yeah, let's see where it makes sense to add that.
In the engine class, probably.
So
Or in the ship. What do you think?
let's put it here. Let's put capacity.
Yeah, max fuel capacity.
And when we create it, we need to do capacity, that. And here we basically need to clamp to engine dot capacity. Okay, now if we restart, it shouldn't be possible to go above 1000.
1000, yes.
Come on, Rust. Okay, it's taking something and it's still 1000.
Yeah.
Now let me spend some fuel.
You spent too much.
52. Ah, barely missed it. Okay.
You can go on forever in the free space.
65. And it will get harder because we are not respawning, right?
Yeah, we are not respawning the fuel cell. We will add that now, probably.
Okay, come on.
Oh, there is a cluster there of cell. You will eat something. Come on. No.
No, I just went straight into the void. Okay, 86. Ah, almost there.
The space is very vast, so I think you just give a little bit of trust to avoid some cells intentionally.
Exactly. I like to stare at this. Look at that. It's amazing.
It's
Okay,
like
I
Snake.
got one. I got 1000. 1000.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
good.
works.
Capit. Integration tests are always slow.
Exactly, yeah. So what can we do next? We added the... should we make the fuel cell collide between themselves or
Between
not?
themselves, we could. And what happens when they collide?
Do they cluster together with each other or something else?
You said that before that when something is colliding, Bevy tells you the vectors of the collision.
It tells you, okay, let's relook at that guy. This collide A and B. It gives you a collision, which is an enum,
Okay.
which can be left, right, top, bottom, inside.
It's not giving you a vector, it's giving you more or
Actually,
less
let's look at the proper function.
from which
Collide.
side.
So it's basically giving you an option of a collision, and it's telling you A position and B position are the center positions of rectangles, typically obtained by extracting the translation field from a transform component. A sides and B sides are the dimensions, width and height of the rectangles. The return value is the side of B that A has collided with. Left means that A collided with B left side. Top means that A collided with B top side. If the collision occurs on multiple sides, the side with the deepest penetration is returned. If all the sides are involved, inside is returned.
Okay, let's keep it simple. Let's do a system in fuel, in the fuel file. Let's do a system that goes through in a square all the fuel by all the fuel except one fuel with itself, because they will always collide, obviously.
Yes.
And if they collide, we make them stick together. And at that point, we change the velocity of the two fuel cell to the average of the previous velocity of the two fuel cell, and they spawn a third fuel cell with a random direction. What do you think?
I like that they can spawn
Yeah,
more
so
fuels.
so
Okay.
we don't run out of fuels cell, except when we add I don't know, asteroids or other kind of obstacles. So we need the command to spawn, yes, a query fuel that give us all the fuel cell, like before, like the other system that we just wrote. Probably you can recycle, or is
Okay, so what do we need?
the entity? I
We
don't know
don't
if
need
we need
the
the
entity.
entity. No,
We
we
need the
just change the
transform.
transform. The fuel cell itself for the capacity? No, we don't care about the fuel cell itself. We just need to change their velocity. So we need the transform. If we just no velocity is we need velocity. Sorry, we need
We
velocity.
need
Velocity
velocity. You're right.
is defined by us. It's not mutable velocity because we have to change the
And it's
velocity.
mutable. Yes.
Yeah, fuel cell contains only the capacity, but we are not changing it.
Do we need to read it to spawn the new one?
No, because we went with a random. If you look at line 44, the
And let's
capacity
just
is
do
a
it this way.
random. You need the reference to a fuel cell in the width.
We don't need a reference. You're
Okay,
right.
cool.
Okay, now there is a way to get pairs, which is not this one. So there is fuel cell.
Yeah, it's a for every fuel cell,
No, there is
except
a way to combine them
mm,
already. I think it's built in. Combination, mute. I think that's the one. So for A in this, and now we'll
we
see
need
what
the
A
sprite
is.
to have the sides of the fuel cell.
Do we need the sprite or
We
do
know
we
that it's
just
8
use a
by,
constant?
we know that it's 8 by 8.
Let's
If
just
I
use a constant.
look back in the fuel PNG, I think it's 8 by 8. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, let's double check.
Open the fuel PNG.
We should have it here
No, why?
in the sprite bundle.
No, it loads the. It loads. Is not needed.
Oh, why did we specify it in the other side then in the ship? Look at
We
this. We did
specified it
specify it here.
where?
In the do I remember wrong?
I don't think we specified it.
We didn't. Where did we
No,
use here?
no. There we just say that are two. Yeah.
In the tile size.
Because we are importing multiple
So here is
tiles.
8 by 8. Okay, that's where we do it. So here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, sounds good. So here we get this monster, query combination eater. What does it give us? I'm not too sure what it's giving us.
What is that?
I think it's giving us A and B. Then let's see if this is a little bit better. No?
But you have to specify that you want two position combination on top of two positions.
No, I'm just trying to create an iterator that already gives us all the combinations
But they are
of,
not combination, they are permutation.
let's see. Let's see if there is another Peter. This is what I remember I used before. Let's check the documentation.
Okay, because we have 100 elements and we want the permutation of them by two. So on two positions, we want the possible permutation without repetition. So we must not repeat.
Yeah, over all combination of K query items without repetition. So some system, mute combinations, while let some, okay, that's how they do it. Mute A1 and A2, combination fetch next. That's a weird syntax. Let's just copy this. So the query is fuel cell query. Okay, now we have A1 and A2. So
That
what do
is
we do?
is a tuple of transform and mutable velocity. Oh my god, what is that?
Okay, let's see. Now we need to use that collide AABB or
Yes.
So if let some doesn't matter equal collide AABB of, now this one is a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, makes sense. Swap velocities. Well, not swap velocity, but thank you for the try.
Yeah, no swap velocity, but
No, the
pretty
new
much
velocity. Yeah, the new velocity. If we want to do the average, the new velocity is you can do let new velocity equal
so
velocity.
A1 velocity.
Can you do a new velocity? So write velocity with a capital V, the type, and open a round
Yeah, I don't
bracket.
think we can do that. Let me do another thing. Let's do a form and a velocity, and then B. Actually, mute needs to be only in velocity because we don't want to change the position. B transform and mute B velocity. Okay, now this is a translation. A transform dot translation. And this is
B.
why
No,
doesn't like that?
it's be transformed dot translation, not be transformed dot transform dot. You have.
Yep, sorry.
Okay. The new velocity in x, the new x velocity is a velocity dot.
Multiply.
Is an x. I don't remember. What is velocity? Can you go inside velocity a moment? I don't remember the type. The struct. The struct velocity that is in common RS. X and Y, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So go back to our collision.
We could implement in the velocity itself operations, like what happens when you sum two velocities or when you divide by two.
Ah, yeah, we can implement operation of sum and division. Yeah, but we can then do them by hand now and then implement them later.
Okay.
So is a velocity dot x plus b velocity dot x slice 2 is the new x velocity. Put round brackets around the plus because. And this is just the x of the new velocity. Then we have the y of the new velocity that is the same with the y. And then we can assign back to a velocity x and b velocity x the new velocity x. Because they are mutable, right? So we can assign. Perfect. That one also with b. Can you chain equal operation, assignment operation in Rust?
Don't think so.
Okay, so we write 2 lines. And the same for exactly. Thank you, Copilot. Are you smart enough? No.
Up to a certain point. Come on, what's going on? Why are you shy all of a sudden?
Copilot is getting shy. And we want also to spawn a new fuel cell.
And we want to. Why it doesn't like this one? We didn't import it.
Instead of
Why?
if it matches some.
I did like this approach. Why it doesn't like it? Is it an actual error? Expect a function found module. Okay, it's collide. And now some Now you can give me a suggestion. If let with match. No, I like this one. So what is your problem? Oh, okay.
Is some.
Is
Okay.
some. I don't know. Okay, fair enough. If you like it more, whatever. Okay, now we want to
Inside.
spawn a new one, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So it's a command dot. I don't remember.
Spawn, and we can do.
There is a piece of code where in this file we spawn the fuel cell a little bit
Yes.
above. If
Let's
you
see if
scroll
we
up a
can
little.
generalize that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if we can make a function to spawn the fuel cell because we have to call that in the same exact way now.
Mm-hmm.
Just that we don't use a random, but we will specify velocity and position.
Yes, let's just do this. Let's just do imp fuel cell and then pub fn spawn random. And this one returns us basically all this code. All
Yeah,
of this
but
double.
with the randoms,
Mm-hmm.
and then we replace the randoms.
We replace the randoms. Why?
Because
Oh yeah, we need.
for the first spawn, it's fine to spawn random position and random velocity. But when we have the collision, we want to control the position and the velocity is not true. We want to go random with velocity, but we want to control the position because it will spawn near the other two.
You're right. Okay.
And
There is another problem that we need the texture.
yeah, the cat is complaining too. We need a texture atlas. Can't we clone an entity? I mean, we have two fuel cell now. Can we clone it? What happens if you clone an entity?
Okay, let's try that. So I'm gonna revert all these changes.
Undo.
Okay, let's see here. If we take A for instance,
Do we
the
have
problem we don't have the entity.
well, we can add it to the query, no?
Let's add it to the query here.
Yeah, let's take the entity. What happens if you clone
It's
an
going
entity?
to be a entity, which is going to be a bit messy. And
B
then
entity.
B entity.
Or underline because we are going to use only A entity. But
Also true. Why complaints? Oh, does it need to be a reference? Okay. Spawn.
no, just A entity clone. What happens if you do A entity clone, but not inside the spawn?
Oh, we need to
Yeah,
spawn it.
we need to spawn.
Nope.
But is of the wrong type. I mean,
Yeah, because we need the bundle then. How do we get the bundle? Because yeah, this will be only an ID. Okay, the easiest thing is that we just I don't know how we can generalize the texture itself.
can you just make me happy and clone? No, it makes no sense. It should not work. Because just cloning an entity doesn't add the entity in all the places it should be added, probably. Because yes, you're cloning the entity in the function, but then you are not adding the entity to where commands spawn add them. Yeah, how can you create a new sprite from a system? Do we have to pass the texture atlas to the system that we want to use?
I don't think we can. We can. Maybe we can
Why we can't?
query it. I wonder if we can query it as we are doing here.
I mean, the is a resource, right? The atlas.
Because we can query this one and then just clone it from there. Right? If we just do this is gonna get messy, but whatever.
So we don't need the entity anymore.
We don't need any entity anymore, but we will
Now
need
we have this
actually, let's
branch.
put this one
Okay.
front. So a sprite, and this one we're not gonna use it as you suggested.
Yeah. Now, what can we do with a sprite? A sprite.
Right, I cannot query the entire bundle because it's not a single component. It's a mix of components, which is now a pain because it means that we need to query the texture atlas on its own.
Can we do that?
I have no idea. We can try.
What is the type of the texture atlas?
Is it handle texture atlas? Is that gonna work? Okay. So if we spawn sprite bundle, was it sprite bundle? No, was texture sprite bundle. What was it? Spreadsheet bundle. Okay, let me copy all of this.
Yeah, copy paste for the win. Then we will make it more generalized later.
Okay, now this is not. Is complaining about something. I think I have an extra parenthesis. It's not texture atlas handle, but it's going to be a sprite clone.
Dot
Is that gonna
clone.
work? Oh, now the window sides we don't need it because this is not gonna be random.
Okay, yeah, that is different. That is okay.
What do we
Let's
use?
okay. Go a little bit. Go the line before commands. Let's compute the new velo. Okay. I'm thinking. Let's do it simple. Take the current position of A, for example, that we have A transform dot translation. What is
New cell velocity.
new cell
X.
velocity? We can just do the inverted velocity of the new velocity. So the new cell velocity will be a velocity with minus new velocity x. You can already change that down. You don't have to do that here. It's the position that I wanted to compute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which
the
is
position is a uh, a transform dot translation dot x. Yeah, cool.
do we
Uh,
need this?
yeah, wait a moment. Do instead of plus velocity minus 2 times the velocity of the new velocity x that now is the same of that one, but
Okay, why that? So it's shifted enough that it doesn't collide?
so yeah, exactly. It's going in the other direction and far enough to not collide at the when he's born, because otherwise, yeah. I hope 2 times is enough. If 2 times is not enough, we
Mhm.
make it bigger. Let's see. Otherwise, they started to collide continuously. Have we also checked that the A and B are not the same fuel cell, or that is done by the
I think
function?
it's done by this combination thing because it
Perfect.
says without repetition.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot it. So the new position is that one, and the other one, and the velocity that is, I think, some lines below. Capacity is
Below.
random, cool. Yeah, and the x velocity is in line 103 minus new velocity x and minus new velocity y. Let's see what is happening now and see
This
if
thing don't
multiplying.
make sense anymore.
No, for the capacity, yes, because it's still the same.
Okay, now we need to add the system. Let's not do the same mistake as
Yeah, let's
before.
try to remember this time.
So what did we call it? Fuel
Uh,
cells collisions. Why stop copilot?
Copilot is doing random stuff.
Okay, how confident are we that this is gonna work?
Not a lot, but let's see.
Let's see.
If we have an infinite loop of collisions and we spawn 1 gazillion fuel cell,
It's in another screen for some reason.
now I'll,
Oh, it's still loading.
I think the collision up there. There's a cluster of collisions, probably just below fuel 1000.
Yeah, but it's there is something wrong. It's
Okay,
totally frozen.
we made an infinite loop of some kind. Okay, can you kill it with fire?
I
Try to
don't know.
Control C in the console. No,
Okay,
no.
I think
Okay,
we
Control
killed
C
it.
in the console worked. Thank God.
Does it
When we
spawn too much? It's probably spawning too much because they are too
Yeah,
close.
try to though when we multiply it by 2, multiply by 10. So send it away.
Where it was here.
Yeah, line 85. Multiply by 10, so it will spawn far, far away. Okay. Now, we have to.
Yeah, no. When there is a collision, everything
When there is
freezes.
a collision, everything freezes. Okay. Now let's look why. Try to remove the spawn of the new cell. Try to just leave the code that make them stick together. So probably the problem is this one, but just to check the variable one. Now, obviously,
Okay,
nothing
let's
with
see if they
collide.
cluster. There is one around here that no. Oh, this one's already clustered together.
Okay, those two clustered together and they are moving together.
These two barely. These ones are clustered. Let me remove this guy.
There are ads on
Yeah,
Twitch.
these ones. And these ones are also clustered. These ones as well. So seems to be working. The nice thing is that now we can collect all the clusters.
Yeah, sorry,
Ezzo doesn't like this game.
I have the commentary. Yeah, he doesn't like the game, but he wants to go
Or he
on.
wants to play, or he really likes it and wants to play.
We can try to make him play, right? Yeah, they cluster together at least. Do you know what is also a problem? Now that they cluster together, they will collide continuously.
All right, so they will try to spawn like indefinitely.
Yeah, we need a way to prevent to spawn more than They have to spawn when they collide the first time, but then stop to spawn if they collide.
So does it mean that we need a variable?
We need to find a way of saying, look, this sprite already generated a child and can only generate a child once.
Mhm.
And yeah, we need a Boolean parent or as child, already generated a child, find a name.
Okay, we drift in space now.
Until with some fuel cells.
Cool. So either we have an integer that counts how many times you can spawn, or we just have a boolean and it's either true or false.
Yeah, we can do a Boolean true false. It starts like false when we spawn a child from a sprite, from a fuel cell. We set it to true and we don't spawn again true. Okay, so that code probably is
Alrighty.
working, only working too much.
So let's do it in the fuel struct.
The fuel cell is a capacity. We can add I don't know to call it generated a child, already generated a child as spawn child. Okay, as spawn child.
A very original name. Now this is gonna complain here and this is false. Okay. Why a sprite is complaining? Oh yeah, because I commented all of this.
Now we need in the query also the fuel cell that before probably we were not having.
You are right, we only had it here as a filter. So
We have the
is gonna
width,
be
we can remove the
fun.
width.
So now
And it
it's
must
a
be mutable.
sprite, a trans.
It must be
It
the fuel
must be
cell must be
mutable.
mutable. Yeah, because we have to change the boolean.
A cell. Okay, I don't know why it doesn't send them in another line.
It's
Should
not
have.
the formatting is not sending it in multi-lines.
It likes it only in one line. Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, so the spawn thing, what do we do if a cell not spawn children and do we do an end or an or? Probably an end, right?
Let's try with an end. Then if we don't spawn enough, we
can do an
we
or,
can
yeah.
change. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so in this case, I don't
and
need the
you have to set
parentheses.
the booleans to true.
Mhm.
Bottom.
So a cell equal true, b cell equal true, and now we do all of this. Looks good.
Yeah, because it's. Let's see if now when they collide we crash the application again, or if it's getting better.
It does spawn. Okay, it's not freezing.
Okay, 10 is probably too much now. But is moving or not?
I'm not moving, but they are moving. Look, for instance,
Sorry.
these ones
Is the
now they
streaming
already.
probably? Yeah, is the
Let's
streaming
see
that
here.
for me that is probably a little bit behind.
Because also if you get clusters that eat with each other, they don't spawn.
What happens? They
Like
don't
this
spawn.
one
Yeah.
just eat here, it doesn't spawn. So if we do an OR, they will spawn in that particular case. Right?
Yeah, when there is some.
When there is
Yeah.
one single that eats a cluster.
Yeah.
Now these two, they are spawn. Yeah, the 10 is too much. It can be very far away.
Okay, let's go to 5. Then we look at it.
Okay, let's put here an OR. And then let's put in the distance
10.
here a 5.
Yeah, and see what's happening.
No, I like this. I like that the scroll bar is like growing like crazy. So many entities. Also, I like that there is like a little arc here.
Yeah, and they stop it. They stop it there.
And it's becoming much more responsive. Like the frame rate has dropped significantly. I don't know if you can appreciate on the stream, but it's like much slower.
Okay. Probably we are spawning too much or what? Or there are too
I
many
don't know.
entities to compute the
They're like
distances.
two overlapped one with another, maybe. How many entities there are here? Yeah, we have in the order of thousands. Look at this, 2,000 and something.
Okay, they seems less to me on the screen, but probably
So
it was.
probably they are spawning overlapped or something like that.
Yeah, could kill it with fire before your machine explodes.
So let's go back to 10, which I think it was a little bit more reasonable.
Then what? At the distance.
Let me see if that problem happens again.
Or let's just spawn at -10 without taking care of the velocity.
Okay, now they are not spawning with the same frequency.
There are no new spawns until there is a need. Yeah, every now and then there is a new guy. Oh, do you know what was happening? There were a cluster with velocity 0, and the new one were spawning on top of it,
And
but the
generating
new
new
one was
ones.
spawning a new one, and the new one was spawning a new one. Okay, we have to change the position where it spawned to be sure that it's not colliding with anything.
Mm-hmm. Or if it's colliding, how do we know that? Without comparing the new position with everything else.
You can it's a mess.
Oh, look at that. It's happening again.
Yeah, in the moment that we don't have to multiply by the velocity, otherwise it's a mess. We spawn at -10 -10, that probably will is not good, but well, we can always change it later, just to be sure that we are far away. Line 94 and 95.
But you're still not 100% sure it's not going to happen
No,
again. It just decreases the
the
likelihood.
probabilities. We have to find a way to spawn the new fuel cell in an
Where
empty
there is
spot.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and going preferably in a direction opposite to the generating cluster. That we already do that, because the velocity of the generated cell is the negative of the fathers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already going in another direction. We just need to put the cell in a position that is empty. And how can we do that?
Yeah, that's the problem, because the only thing I have in mind is that here you define a new position and then you check a collision with everything else.
I'm losing you. Have you closed the game, Luciano?
I closed the game. Yes, I'm here, back on the
Okay.
code.
Sorry, your CPU is. I don't know if your CPU or my connection is
My
suffering.
CPU now is decent.
Okay, cool.
But
Okay, let's think about it. We can do another call of collide AABB between the hypothetical new position and the two cells we come from.
Yes.
And then if we collide, we move a little bit. And if we collide again, we move a little bit.
Or if we collide, we don't spawn.
Oh, if we collide, we don't spawn. Cool, I like it.
The only thing is that using Rust, I don't know how easy it is to do this because we are already iterating in a mutable way on everything. So how do we do another nested loop on the same resources? Is going to be interesting. Let's see.
Ooh, you're right, because we are iterating on top of all the cells. Now we want to iterate again on top of all the cells with our current virtual new cell.
Exactly.
And if there is any collision, we don't spawn. That's interesting.
Or maybe there is a trick we can do. Let me think. If we do this, if we do another query,
and we have another object with all the cells,
which doesn't even need to be mutable at this point. It can be, we can even get the, do we care about anything that can be transformed or just the other fuel cells? Like, do we want to spawn on top of the starship?
If it happens, it happens.
Okay, then let's just do the fuel cells. So cell positions, I guess. And what we want is almost
where it transform with a width, not with
very
an
close
R.
copilot, exactly.
I think there is okay.
Okay, it doesn't complain about that. So somehow Bevy is smart enough to, I don't know, figure out how to do this query for us. Okay, at this point, what we
inside
can do...
inside the if on line 94, we can do this. We can compute the new position. Cool, there.
Do we always set this as true or only if this passes?
No, it's better to set them to true because otherwise it will be very computational heavy. So
it's on in this case. So if it doesn't,
yeah, but we have to collide with all the list that comes from the new query.
Yes. So copilot stop. So this is basically for...
Can't we do that in a functional way? I mean, if that dot any collide.
Sounds good. So let's do... Actually, that's I like it. Let as space to spawn equal basically what we want to get cell positions either. Let's see how smart is Copilot. Either all, no, okay, all I already don't like it. It's any, right?
No, all. Is all because it's doing his known.
Right, okay, you're right. So if it doesn't collide with all the others, basically.
Yeah.
Now let's see what it's doing here. New cell X and new cell Y. This is a good position. The sides is fuel cell sides, fuel cell side. Cell transform. This is cell transform. So the current one we are comparing
translation, with. Cell transform translation. Yeah.
Fuel cell, fuel cell. Okay. So
okay.
Copilot, good job. So if
I would set those two to true anyway.
Okay, and now we spawn here.
We do if as a space spawn. Now I don't know where you have to put the curly bracket because I got lost. in indentation.
Should be like that. Let's double check. Yes.
Okay. Let's see if now we are still spawning like crazy or if it's a little bit better. The problem was that when collided and got stuck at 0 speed.
55. Yeah, I think this happens when you start to get bigger clusters. So let's
Yeah,
wait a little bit.
because statistically, if you sum all the velocity that we randomly computed, you get a 0 by statistical.
Like this one is probably already happening.
But we are not spawning forever. No, we are at 560 elements that I think they are more than manageable.
Okay, these ones are probably gonna happen if they collide. It didn't
Yeah,
spawn. Or it did it, or this one
he
maybe.
spawned that one, but it's fine because now if he's hitting something else, they are not going to spawn forever. I think it's stable now. Quantity of fuel cell, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not growing like crazy.
Yeah, it's growing. It will grow because
By the way, I
every
like,
new.
you see how smart it is? As soon as there is a gap in the entity system, it reuses that gap.
Mm,
So it's like 71, 72, 73, 11, because probably we consumed some of the cells. So we
yeah.
freed 11 and now 28. So I suppose if we spawn something else, it's probably going to be 74. 74, then 11. That's interesting. So
Oh well, it's clustering and generating, and we are collecting. Cool.
so
Do we want to go on and do something else, or for today is enough?
I think for today is enough. Maybe doing a bit of recap on what we can do next could be
Yeah.
useful.
Yes. Next, I would like to have asteroids to collide with, and
Mm-hmm.
making the ship explode if it does that. That are still with a velocity. Even the asteroids have a velocity that is random at when they spawn, and they go around. When they collide, we will see what they do. They can bounce. There is a little bit of mathematics involved if we want to make them bounce or
Mm-hmm.
crash in the middle. Uh, we need some sprites for the asteroids, or because we found out that we can't draw random shapes in Bevy, or at least we don't know how to do random shapes.
Yeah, apparently, actually, let me screen share again. So by default, it doesn't seem that there is an easy way to create programmatically generated sprites, right? Or to
Shapes.
draw on a sprite whatever you want, like pixels. But there is this tool, which I think is like a plugin to Bevy, which, if I understood correctly, gives you a new type of texture, which has a new type of sprite, which has methods that allows you to draw lines and shapes and stuff like that. So maybe we can use this one,
Yeah.
but I haven't tested yet. Sounds interesting.
Next time we can try to add this plugin and use it to generate an irregular polygon instead of a regular polygon, um, and use it as an asteroid. And we spawn multiple of them with different shapes. So we have to keep track of different shapes, and let's see how we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So that's, I think, everything we have for today. So make sure to check out all the previous recording, YouTube, Twitch, and everything else, so you can be up to date when we go live next, which is probably going to be either this Wednesday or next Monday. So stay
Yeah,
tuned.
I think so. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.